Welcome to the Acropolis. This is Mark Olivieri. I'm going to be talking about rafters in this video. Rafters cut from rough-sawn native hemlock. But first, a little background of the project might be helpful. I've been building a workshop with a little help from my friends called the Acropolis. It's a folly on an incline near my house, and I've chosen a site that has some similarity to a setting for a temple of classical Greek times. The ancient sites engaged the visitor, promoted drama and excitement on approach. I'm not pretending that my workshop is a serious piece of architecture. This is a folly. This is fun. The Italian word for fun, divertimento, to divert one's attention away from the self. This is fun. This is diversion. As you may have seen in earlier videos, in the past couple of years, some trees have been removed from the site, and I've made a dry stone foundation to elevate a thick concrete slab on which the building will sit. The infill is also rock, top dressed with heavy gravel, but no soils to entrain moisture. The whole stone foundation, no concrete here, is sitting on a solid ledge outcropping which was scrubbed clean, fairly clean, of soil by the last glaciation. The only thing growing on this ledge was some mountain laurel and a little poison ivy. So this foundation, at least, might stand for millennia, or until the next glaciation succeeds in smearing it into a small drumlin. By then there will be no trace of organics, the wood structure of this building. By now the wood building has begun. Framing for walls is standing, and I have trusses for the roof structure in place. What we'll focus on in this video is the rafter component of these trusses which we made. So the rafters are the top pieces of the triangle that deflect the building weight and the elements and the weather to the sides of the building. So I'm going to cut out of this pile of rough-sawn hemlock my rafters, and it is rough sawn. It's 2 by 10 full dimension, full 2-inch by 10-inch. I've made this template which represents the perfect rafter, and I'll lay that on top of some of these blank pieces of 2 by 10 hemlock. The template is made out of 3/8 plywood, which is screwed to some straight rippings of 2-inch wood. It's nice and lightweight, and I can maneuver it where I need to, and I'll fasten it to the blank, and with a dark pencil I can map out my rafter, positioning the template in a place that avoids any potential flaws, cracks, or knots, so that that hazard is minimized. And this can be really important because there are different stresses in different places in a rafter, and you want to be aware of that. So you want to cut out the flaws or position them in some neutral location. Let me give you an example of the type of flaws we're talking about. Visualize putting weight on a structural component like our rafter, and notice how in order to sag, the top of the rafter needs to compress and the bottom needs to stretch. So the top of the rafter is in compression, the bottom is in tension. The tension side is the hazardous side in this case, and we want to avoid flaws on this edge. The arrow points to the flaw, which is the knot on the bottom. And these small pieces of wood make good examples of the failure. Poor camera work, but the knot is the point of failure here. Very predictable and very preventable. The knot on the compression side of the rafter, the top of the rafter, is not a problem in that it is in compression. Compression under weight in this case. So you can see that it's very strong. If I try to break this, I'll have a hard time doing it. so we don't worry about them if they're on the top side of the rafter. It did break, but not at the point I was trying to exemplify. So back to the cutting station, we removed the template, hopefully having mapped out a rafter which doesn't include any substantial flaws, and we removed the template, and it's close to cutting time. So here is a mapped out rafter. Um, Hopefully some semblance of perfection out of a wavy piece of lumber. And here is a flaw similar to the one in our example, and it is in the top of our rafter. So we're going to relax and not worry about that. And we're going to go ahead and start cutting. We have 24 of these to make. So as I said earlier, I think I'm cutting a 9¼ inch rafter out of a 10-inch board, 10-inch rough board. And I'll end up with a nice straight uniform rafter, which I can use to make my trusses. Out in the real world, we're using a lot of engineered products. Most are now made from OSB, oriented strand board. Now, this is really unpleasant material. It smells bad. Dust is static-like and it's clinging, and it's just nasty. To come out here and cut into real lumber and not have to deal with that pre-digested industrial OSB garbage is gratifying and pleasant way to spend my time. Cutting into my friend Charlie's beautiful hemlock lumber, I have some other components to be made here, horizontal collars and vertical struts. And then we'll go on to the assembly of the roof trusses. I hope we're not boring you as we make a shadow on the earth called the Acropolis.